23. So why 23? Is it a lucky number, Owen? No, it's not my lucky number. That's the number of days to go till the start of the season, till we travel to Tynecastle to take on Hearts. 23 days. That's just over 3 weeks away from heading to open the SPL season at Tynecastle, which will be a very tough game, as it always is, as we saw at the end of last season. And it is going to be, a tricky one. Again, just like, going to Rugby Park was last season. And we realistically cannot afford to drop any points. We cannot afford any point over these first few months to give them, Celtic, any sort of head start. Look, I didn't want to make, this is not the video I actually wanted to make tonight. I had a different video in mind. And then I came across a report that came in from Four Lads via Rangers Review as regards the squad, as regards the squad rebuild, as regards the club. And I've got to say, I am absolutely raging at this board. Now, look, I'm going to get one thing 100% clear before we even begin this video. I am not happy about having to sit here night after night, day after day, and talk about the incompetence of John Bennett, of the Rangers board, how they can't organise a piss up in a brewery, how it's amateur hour, how they run Rangers like it is some Isthmian League North team in England, how they are not fit and proper to run our great club. This board are a shambles. They are an absolute shambles. They have proven on numerous occasions that they genuinely don't know their arse from their elbow. Now, I know that I am completely shafting my chance of ever getting press access to Ibrox, but I don't care because I speak from the heart. I speak as a fan. I speak from someone who is sick to death of finishing second to Celtic, sick to death of seeing green and white ribbons on trophies. I'm sick to death of hearing from them on the other side of the city about them winning trophies. I'm sick to death of hearing about the fact we've only won 3 in 12 years. And I am sick to death of the perceived acceptance of mediocrity from this board. As long as their pockets are getting lined, they don't care about this club. And I will say that. Now, John Bennett may be a Rangers fan, but I tell you something, he's doing a very funny impression of a Rangers fan, in my opinion. Now, why am I so riled up? Why am I so annoyed? Why am I so peed off? Well, we're 23 days away from the start of the season. So every day between now and the start of the season is absolutely critical in terms of squad preparation, in terms of getting this team ready, in terms of getting this squad ready to hit the ground running, not only to compete in the SPL, but also to qualify for the UEFA Champions League. Like I've said on numerous occasions, if the board genuinely feel that they'd rather play Europa League football and lose a third of their money, or two-thirds of their potential income, then they are absolutely ridiculous. They could potentially lose out on £60 million through their tightness, through their inability to actually manage and run this club as a Premier League top European club that it is, rather than like the dog and duck. Now, this was the tweet that went out yesterday from Heart and Heart, from Four Lads Had a Dream via Rangers Review. So these guys are club partners. These are reliable sources. This is not your Ibrox Noise or your Football Insider or, those slightly dodgy organizations. So this is what they had to say. It is understood that there is nothing imminent in terms of new recruits, and Rangers do not expect to add to the squad in the coming days. Suggestions that Cagliari are closing in on Civil Dessers has also been downplayed as well. Well, let's take those two statements there and deal with them each in turn. Because let's deal with the first one. Rangers do not expect to add to the squad in the coming days. So you can pretty much take it that is the rest of this week and probably the start of next week. Okay, so let's take off. Today, obviously, is Thursday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 5 more days off. Okay, so let's take 5 more days off that number 23. So that takes us down to what? 18 days to go? 18 days to go. Okay, so 18 days. So you're then looking at, obviously, moving towards the Manchester United game on the 20th. Another pre-season friendly goes down. Again, players are brought in late. Again, if players are brought in towards the end of that week, they're not going to be ready to play in that pre-season game. Again, this is what it's about, preparing. You've then got a situation where they're going into, obviously, a situation where they've got 2 final games to prepare, the Birmingham game and the Union Berlin game. And the board don't seem to be backing it. To me, the board don't seem to be backing the manager. That seems to be what is happening. The fact that I'm hearing from a lot of sources, a number of sources, as I spoke about on the video yesterday morning, that we've got to sell to buy, that we've got to clear the squad, reduce the squad size to buy. And I get that. I understand that. I 100% get that. But to me, this is just disgusting. This is just disgraceful. This is just, again, the board not supporting the manager. And people can talk all they want about, the transfer windows just opened, but it goes completely against what the club was saying at the end of last season about wanting to have these players in place for the trip to Holland, for the pre-season, bedded in early before the Champions League qualifiers, so they had time before the Champions League qualifiers to actually bed these players in. Yes, we've brought in a lot of young players, as we saw today from the two starting lineups, and I'm going to talk about those in relation to why this statement here, this opening statement here, is an absolute disgrace from this club. Is the situation is that those young players, one of them started. Yes, he did very well today. Don't get me wrong. Connor Barron did very well today. He played well. He looked like a young Ryan Jack, a young fit Ryan Jack. Let's just qualify that. Okay, so look, that's the first one. Second part, suggestions that Calibre closing in on Dessers has been downplayed as well. That's bad news. That really is bad news. I've heard talk that Rangers will not sign another striker because they see 3 strikers as enough if they are only playing one up top. Therefore, meaning that we're putting all our trust in Dessers, Danilo, and Igman. So we're putting our trust in Dessers, who is Mr. Unreliable. I know he has his supporters in the fan base, but a guy who, as someone put on the comments yesterday, 90th minute, Parkhead, he threw one-on-one on the goalkeeper. How many of you are guaranteeing he scores? Certainly not me. Danilo, who again is still unproven, yes, has a better goals per 90 minutes than Dessers over his career, is, I think, a whole lot more skillful, quicker, and more aware player than Dessers. I think, is a better player than Dessers. But the jury is out on him because he has obviously not had a run of games in Scotland. Igman, again, a young lad who is unproven at this level, who's never played in Scotland, who we don't know how he's going to do. And it's just, if that's it, if that truly is true what they're saying, that because we've got 3 strikers at this moment in time, unless Dessers leaves, we're not going to sign another one. That to me is just rank stupid from the board. And yes, I understand we need to clear some salary cap. We need to clear some space. We need to get rid of some players. I understand that. Get that. But this comment here, that there is nothing imminent in terms of new recruits and Rangers don't expect to add to the squad in the coming days whilst we're in Holland, whilst we're on the pre-season training camp, whilst we're doing all the fitness and conditioning work, the strength and conditioning work, the work that Clement talked about has been fundamental to next season. Just seems to me to be a massive lost opportunity, again, from this board, who are an absolute shambles, an absolute disgrace. Right? And people will ask, well, who do you want to come in? Basically, what I want is someone to come in who actually cares about this club, who actually cares about the fans, about success for this club, about getting this club back to where it belongs at the top of the Scottish game. I want a board that's going to come in and actually treat the fans with some respect. You could have just look at the whole situation over the stadium. They are still silent over that, still saying absolutely nothing. Fan minutes came out for the 17th of June saying there was no issues, no problems with the rebuild. The 20th, 3 days later, there's going to be a delay. The stadium might not even be ready till October. 3 days later. So you're telling me in 3 days it went off track. Don't give me that rubbish. They clearly misled the fan advisory board. The board are not fit for purpose. They need to have some respect for the fans. They have absolutely no respect for the fans. And John Bennett, Josh Hollywood, Kareem Varane, whoever you call it again, I can't remember. Kareem Varane, is it? I think his name is. Craig Robertson, I'll challenge you. Come on the podcast. Defend yourselves. Come and defend yourselves if you dare. You won't, will you? Because you won't defend yourselves. Because you'd rather stay silent. You'd rather just not say anything. You'd rather leave the fans in the dark, treat us like mushrooms, keep us in the dark, feed us on shit, and expect us still to hand over our hard-earned cash. And you know what? We still will, because we love this club. We love this club a million times more than you do. Right, let's look at this. Try and calm down a little bit. So, no imminent arrivals. pretty much we're going to run with what we've got over the next week. Let's say that week. Let's say 7 days. So we take 7 off 23, you get 16 days. 16 days to go before the season. You might get some new arrivals. For me, we need to make more arrivals. We need to sign more players. We've got to bring in more experience. Now, you look at the team as it was named today. Okay, this is from the behind closed doors friendly against Standard Liège. I'm not going to talk about that in terms of the fact that, oh my God, it's a disaster, blah 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 blah, because it's a behind closed door friendly. The players were fatigued. They'd done a big training session in the morning, a real full-on training session in the morning, and then we're expected to play this game in the afternoon. And I get that obviously will impact that. Yes, the performance was largely forgettable. Yes, the game was largely forgettable. You know, from listening to what Chris Jack was saying to Joshua Barry earlier, from listening to other comments from people who were at the game, reporters, it sounds like it was a pretty awful game, and both teams were pretty poor. Rangers were probably the better of the two teams, but it was very poor. Alex Lowry going the closest with a shot that hit the post. Alex apparently was quite impressive. One massive positive from today's game, Connor Barron apparently was excellent. You know, he got around the park well, he used the ball tidily and well, he tackled well, he got stuck in. And like I said, the analogy that I've read numerous times is that he looked like a young Ryan Jack, which is positive because Ryan Jacko was a fantastic footballer, and I love Jacko. So look, there, John Souttar captained the team today in the absence of James Tavernier. It wasn't Jack Butland. It was John Souttar who captained the team. You know, I'm sure that will bring up some rage from some fans. Personally, I like Sutty. I think he's a good player. Big Soapy's a quality. I like him. I know he makes the odd mistake, but I still think he's probably the best of all of our central defenders that we've got at this moment in time. I'd certainly rate him higher than Connor Goldson. You know, probably the only person who would push him close is Leon Balogun. But you know, this is where we're at this moment in time. So obviously, you know, today we've got to remember Todd Cantwell didn't play, James Tavernier didn't play, Hamza Igman is not ready until the end of next week. Apparently, that's when he will join up next week with his teammates. That's why he didn't play. Dujon Sterling is injured. So they were the players obviously missing from today's game. Now, obviously, they are to come back in. So we've got to remember that Sterling, Tavernier, Cantwell, and obviously Igman are still to come back into this squad. This was the two teams, okay? Now, you may notice that Cortez went off after half an hour. That was pre-planned, that he would only play 30 minutes because he's come back from that serious knee injury. He looked rusty at times, did okay, but wasn't, you know, just basically looked like a player who'd been injured for a long period of time. The first half team, as was named by Philippe Clement, and I think, you know, you look at it in terms of the fact that without James Tavernier, without Todd Cantwell, without Dujon Sterling, without Hamza Igman, without Danilo as well, this was pretty much all he had. So Butland, King at right back, Souttar and Davis were your central defenders. Ridvan played left back. Barron and Diamande were the two in front of the back four, which many people feel could well be the two that start on the first game of the season as that pivot two in front of that back four. Then it was McCausland wide right, Lawrence in the 10 role, and Cortez wide left with Dessers through the middle. And surprise, surprise, there was no goals. Robbie Fraser came on after 30 minutes to play wide left for Cortez. So that was the team as it lined up for the first half. Second half team, again, there was lots of changes made. The only person who played the full 90 was Jack Butland. So Butland in goal. Liam Kelly had only just come back from Scotland duty. So that's why he didn't play. Robbie McCrory obviously has now officially joined Kilmarnock. Kieran Wright's gone on loan. So that, you know, that's why Butland played the full 90. Balogun came on at right back because of the fact that obviously Tav didn't play. Sterling's injured. Goldson and Ciala played in central defence, and Ciala apparently was quite impressive. It was very calm with what he did, very assured with what he did. Looked a decent buy. Goldson back in the team, worrying. Yefte did very well as left back. Looked quick, looked speedy. Had about 10 touches. Didn't do a great amount, but you know, still came on, did a job. Raskin and McKinnon were the two. McKinnon apparently had a very good chance to score. The shot was well saved by the goalkeeper, but did very well indeed. Dowell played in the 10 role. Scott Wright, God help us, played on the right. Finley Curtis played up front, but was replaced by Alex Lowry after 75 minutes. Robbie Fraser played until the 60th minute when Rabbi Matondo came on from the bench. So if you look at it, that's it. Plus the players that I've named, Danilo, Tavernier, Cantwell, obviously missing. Dujon Sterling missing from that list. Okay, so they're the players that are missing from that list. Now, I look at that, and I know it's just a preseason game, and I get it's a bounce game. But realistically, if we went into that first home game, that first away game, if we went into the first Champions League qualifier, and the team that we put out there, the team that we fielded in that game, you know, was the team I'm going to pull up on screen on now. I want you to be wholly honest with me. Do you honestly feel confident that this team could qualify for the Champions League? Do you think that this team here is a team that qualifies you for the Champions League, that would get past Union Saint-Gilloise, Fenerbahce, Dynamo Kiev? You know, those tough teams that that I've shown you that we could well face. You know, is this team here good enough to get past that? I would argue no. The back four is the same back four as we had last season. Struggled. The right side of the defence we ripped to pieces. Barron and Diamande, quality. Sterling is not a winger. He's a wholehearted top player. I love him to bits, but he's not a bloody winger. Tom Lawrence, flatters to deceive at times. Cantwell, inconsistent. Cortez, quality, and will be once he's fit. Dessers, hit and miss, absolute hit and miss. Or Danilo starts up front again, rusty at this point in time, just come back from that ACL injury. So is that team good enough to get through to the Champions League? No, it's not. It realistically isn't. Is that team realistically good enough to go to Parkhead and get something on the 1st of September? No, it's not. Now, if the board are not going to back this manager, are not going to put their money where their mouth is, are not actually going to give this manager a chance, then he could be gone by Christmas. He genuinely could. And that's awful to say because I back this manager. I think Philippe Clement is a top manager. I think Niels Koppen is a top director of recruitment. And I think they can take this club forward. The thing holding this club back are this board. For me, that's my personal opinion. You may wholeheartedly disagree with that. And if you do, that's fine. Football's a game of opinions. And you may say, well, you know, look, where's the money coming, etc., etc. Fine. You know, I know that we've got to sell players. I get that. The squad's too big. I said that yesterday. I get that we've got to raise money. I get that. But if we do not bring in at some point some more quality players, and to read that comment from Four Lads and from Rangers Review that no arrivals are imminent, that nothing is imminent in coming, when you need that pre-season to bed those players into your squad, and you need a substantial amount of time to do that, and you're going to be facing the same situation that we kept hearing at the start of last season. Oh, they need time to gel. They need time to knit together. They need time to come together as a team. By which point Celtic are 8, 10, 11 points clear of us and the league gone again. And they're already level on trophies with us. They would equal our 55. Do you really want to be sitting here this time next year with them having more trophies than us, been the most successful club in football, with them having the same number of league titles as us? Do you really want to sit here? Because that's what's going to happen at this moment in time. That might sound defeatist. Are the board gambling on the fact that they're not going to spend any money because they've got that money has to be ring-fenced paying something else off? I'm not going to talk about. It worries me. It really, really worries me. And you may think I'm overreacting, and I may well be overreacting, but I'm a fan. I love this club, and it hurts. It really angers me that we're not doing everything in our power to fully back this manager and use this transfer window wisely to bring players in early to get them ready for the start of this coming season, which is going to be a tough one, a long one, and a physical one. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. You may think I'm completely off the mark, and if you do, please feel free to disagree. Personally, I'm angry. I genuinely think this board are an absolute shower of useless somethings. Guys, let me know what you think. On the way out, if you can smash the like, that would be really, really great. I'd be really grateful for that. Second thing, please remember, never forget, no matter what board we've got in charge of this club, for the players, for the manager, for our fans, we are the people.